Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Coast Guard Day, August 4th. Hope everyone's well. Didn't do an intro for this one, thought I'd get right into it. I've literally waited months for this shave, and it was Joe Dean at Subtle Art Soap. I'm pretty sure it was his idea. It was either him or Bradley, hi guys, who gave me this idea for a Coast Guard shave. And I'll tell you why here in a sec. As you can see, I've kind of redecorated. That's one of my PT shirts. That's the Thunder Bay. That's the icebreaker I served on. That is one of my wife's unit shirts. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's her CCTI shirt for when she made Chief. And this we made to commemorate the 2005 icebreaking season. And as you can see, I'm wearing the shirt that I posted on Instagram. Support search and rescue, get lost. I have the bumper sticker too. So, August 4th, 1790, Alexander Hamilton made the Revenue Cutter Service, which became the modern day Coast Guard. So we celebrate August 4th as Coast Guard Day, and Alexander Hamilton is the father of the Coast Guard. So I happened to be talking to Joe, and I mentioned a lot of the stuff that I've gotten from Coasties that I've met on here. Hello everybody, Johnny Bravo, Bradley, Joe, John D, ex-Coastie Chief. How you doing, buddy? If you happen to see this. So Joe was like, why don't you just do a Coast Guard shave one day? And this was in May, I believe. April or May, and I went, that's an amazing idea. So I decided to wait till August. I'm in the middle of my month of McDuff's, but whatever, special occasion. So, first off, I'll go with the coffee. Doing my Ethiopia Limu. I have my new coffee from Sterling on the way. So I gotta get through that bag. I've been avoiding it because I really like this. When I run out, I don't know when I'll get it again. But all right, let's get into the gear. So once I decided to do this, I was racking my brain. Obviously, I knew I'd use Subtle Art Soap because Joe's an ex-Coastie, and he was also stationed in Chatham on the Cape. And so, of course, I went, duh, gotta use the Mid-Cape Barber. It's the only one that fits. I have so many of his soaps, man, and it's just, I always have a hard time picking which one because I love every one of them, every single one. And by the way, Joe, the patchouli one, that's become one of my favorites. He had made that for somebody and he wasn't sure about it. I actually really like it a lot. So Mid-Cape Barber, I'm gonna be using my fine shave bowl, also from Joe, Subtle Art Soap. And of course, I will be using your pre-shave oil, which I love. Quickly become one of my favorites. And the Parker blades. You gave me those too when I bought that Parker from you. So, the splash. Phil, you're not a Coastie, but you are a fellow sailor and a very good friend, buddy. You're an awesome dude, and any chance to use your splash, I will take it. So I will be using your Lafayette to go with Joe's wonderful Mid-Cape Barber. Why not? Same blood, same mud, you know what I mean? Got my pre-shave on, starting to dry out, so let me just wet that. My brush, I'll be using, this was handmade for me, custom made by John D from Cobble Hill Farms, also known as ex-Coastie Chief on Instagram. Go check him out. He and his wife do a lot of stuff, not just brushes. But this is spalted maple and this is white tip badger. This is a 30 millimeter. From top to bottom, literally, aside from the only thing I didn't do was make it. I picked the handle type, I picked the handle shape, I picked the knot size, what type of knot. This is hands down my favorite badger brush. You'll see it, it's a big boy. But that's from a Coastie. I'm just using the mug to soak. That's not a Coast Guard mug, that's Fendrian, but whatever. So the last thing is the post-shave balm. And I didn't have a balm given to me by Coastie, or so I thought. This was purchased by my wife, who's an SKC in the Coast Guard. She's coming up on 18 years. No, 17, sorry, 17 years. So, she's going towards her 20. She got retirement here in a couple years, but that was technically purchased buy a Coastie. So let's get into it, guys. So the one thing I've been doing, that I've started doing, is the history thing. So of course I got to do the history of the Coast Guard. The promise with that is there's a lot of it. So I'm not going to be able to do a lot. I decided to hit on some interesting things, and I have some cliff notes here, front and back. And I was going on another page and I was like, this is too much, man. This video will be 45 minutes. So it'll taper off around World War II. There's a lot more after that. Some of the important things, the big important thing post World War II, I'm going to touch on. But yeah, so I'll be running down just literally a list with dates. I might just do World War I Coast Guard history, World War II Coast Guard history. We'll see. That's good stuff, Joe. Let's get started with this. So, what I'll start off with is the origins. So, actually, no, what I'll start out with is obviously origins, but I will start off with a lighthouse. The first lighthouse built in the New World, in the United States, not even the United States yet, it was in 1716. It was a lighthouse built at Little Brewster Island in Boston, Mass. Very first lighthouse ever built in America. Look at that. A little too much water. Joe's got some kind of thirsty soaps. So let me fiddle with this. 1716, first lighthouse ever made. It was funded by the colonists, by the town, maintained by the colonists in the town. Obviously, there's no central government to regulate it, so it was the lighthouse. So in 1789, I love this brush. I love this brush. 1789, Congress created the Lighthouse, what was known as the Lighthouse Establishment. By that time, there were 12 lighthouses in existence. This is in 1789. The Lighthouse Establishment gained jurisdiction over the 12 lighthouses in America at the time. So kind of not really a Coast Guard, not really anything, just they recognized, okay, we're getting enough lighthouses, we need to put something in charge of dealing with those lighthouses. Mainly face lather here by doing a bowl lather some, just to give myself some lather to have later in the shave. There we go. By the way, Fine Accoutrements reached out to me and they said they're going to start using some of my stuff that I post for advertising, so that was pretty cool news. Very nice of them. Thank you guys. So, Fine Accoutrements bowl. I'm just kidding. These bowls are really nice. I have this big boy. It's the only one I have that's this size, and then I have two of the smaller ones. One I got from Ethan at Shave Mercantile, and one I won off of Pasture Pharmacy. And I love all three of them. And Joe at Solar Soap sells Fine Accoutrements products. So go get one. They're good. All right, so 1789, Lighthouse Establishment. You'll notice it's leading up to 1790. So the Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, his proposal is authorized. 10 cutters are comprised of the newly formed Revenue Cutter Service. That's what the Coast Guard was originally called, the Revenue Cutter Service. It was the precursor to the Coast Guard. In 1791, the very first cutter was called the Massachusetts. Whoop, got a chunk of soap. It was called the Massachusetts. It was commissioned in Newburyport, Massachusetts. Very fitting. First lighthouse, first cutter, first name for a cutter was Massachusetts. poker blade first used. So in 1793, I do try to memorize some stuff, man, but there's so much here I got to look down at my cliff notes, so bear with me. 1793, the first anti-pirate action happened with the Revenue Cutter Service. The cutter Diligence ran a pirate vessel ashore in Chesapeake Bay. So I'm guessing they're trying to get away from them, and they just literally ran them right up onto the beach. So that did not work so well. Oh, I didn't mention my freaking razor, did I? This razor is a 1959 Gillette flare tip. This was gifted to me by Bradley C, GNP Jammer, 1988, on Instagram. Fellow Coast Guard guy, also lived in Mashpee when he was stationed here, my town. Hello, Bradley. Thanks. Appreciate it, buddy. I can't believe I did that. I'm really sorry. I've been busting my hump trying to prepare for this video, make everything perfect, and I'm forgetting to mention people already. Yeah, big old honking zit, huh? At least it's not on my shave area. It's all right. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. January 1st of 1808. There was a law put forth, an anti-slavery law, put forth. The slave trade coming from Africa was made illegal, and the Coast Guard was put in charge. I'm sorry, the Revenue Cutter Service was put in charge of enforcing it. Way back in 1808. Pretty interesting stuff. Make sure I get the Adam's apple there. All right. 25 June 1812, War of 1812. Here we go. The Thomas Jefferson cutter, the cutter known as the Thomas Jefferson, captures the British brig Patriot with a cargo of sugar. And it is the first maritime capture of the War of 1812. It was done by the Coast Guard. Pretty cool. Here we go. I was getting some underwhelming lather there. I don't think so. Not doing your soap justice, Joe. That's better. All right. Catherine A. Moore, 1817. Catherine A. Moore becomes the first woman to oversee a lighthouse in the history of the service. Pretty cool. So pretty early, 1817. February 23rd, 1822. The Timber Act begins the Revenue Cutter Service's environmental mission and ultimately the Coast Guard's environmental mission in 1822. The Timber Act was an act put in place that prevented the cutting down of timber on any public lands. So any public lands owned by the government, you couldn't cut down trees, and the Coast Guard was put in charge of enforcing that. So that was the first environmental mission given. Pretty cool. 1840, kind of jumped ahead a little bit. By that time, so keep in mind in 1789 there were 12 lighthouses. In 1840 there were 234. There were 234 lighthouses. 900 lesser lights, so 900 aids to ATON, as we call it, aids to navigation lights. and 30 light ships in operation. (1843). Captain Alexander Fraser appointed Chief of New Revenue Marine Bureau of the Treasury. He became the first Commandant of the Coast Guard. The Commandant is the head honcho. He's the representative of the entire service for Congress and the United States government. It's always an admiral. He represents the commission, or the service overall. There's also an enlisted, he's called the Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard. He represents all enlisted people. So he's on behalf of all enlisted in the Coast Guard for the United States government. So he's the head enlisted guy. But Fraser was the first Commandant of the Coast Guard. I remember learning that one in Cape May, New Jersey, which I'll talk about here shortly. That's where boot camp is. Cape May was also the location of the first permanent Coast Guard air station. Not the first air station. The first air station came before it and was closed due to funding. I'll get to that. So, April 21st, 1865. All cutters are ordered to stop and check all ingoing, outgoing vessels due to the assassination of President Lincoln. So, while they're looking for John Wilkes Booth and Thomas Paine, Azertot, or whatever, however you pronounce his name, all those guys, all the conspirators, while they're looking for them, the Coast Guard was out stopping ships looking for them too, which makes sense. Oh. There we go. This lather is good and creamy, guys. His his mid-cape barber. I've been hounding him for months. Like, please make a barbershop, man. I want to see your take on a barbershop scent. And he finally did it, and he didn't disappoint. It's just delicious. So good. He didn't overdo the powdery. He did very well with the bergamot, whatever however you pronounce it. It's a very clean, old school barber scent. So go get that. 1889. First incandescent bulb used in a lighthouse ever. Pretty sweet. When you flip over the notes. 1903. U.S. Revenue Cutter Grant is the first cutter to use a wireless telegraph. Pretty cool. 1904. Also the Grant. First cutter to use radio for tactical purposes. While underway. April 4th, 1912, which, mind you, that's 10 days before the Titanic sank. Titanic sank April 14th. This is in April 4th, 1912. President Taft proposes breaking up the Coast Guard due to funding, to save money, to save federal money. Instead, that would lead the U.S. government 3 years later to create the Coast Guard. They merged the life-saving service with the revenue cutter service on January 28th, 1915. By the way, January 28th is my birthday. And also August 4th is the birthday of my oldest son today, who happened to be born while my wife and I were both in the Coast Guard. So to say Coastie does not run through our veins is pretty silly. Holy denial. So pretty crazy, right? All right, so March 24th, 1920, first Coast Guard air station established at Morehead City, North Carolina. It was eventually closed, though, like I said, due to funding. The first one was in Cape May, and that was in 1926. That was the first permanent one. In 1922, we'll backtrack because I skipped some. The Coast Guard saved 2,954 lives and property worth $35,346,095. Now, the one thing I couldn't find, and I went looking, is that in modern day property value, or is that 1922 property value? Because if that's 1922 property value, holy hell, that's crazy. 21 minutes. All right. 1935, the Coast Guard had 40 aircraft at 8 air stations. Now, the thing I want to say about the first air station in 1920, keep in mind the Wright brothers flew in 1903. That's 17 years only after that they established an air station. And they didn't close it because it didn't work out due to faulty air stuff. They just ran out of money. The government didn't give them funding for what was at the time a new enterprise, new technology. But 17 years, man, that's not bad at all. All right, let me rinse my face real quick, guys. I'll be right back. All right, gang. So to keep this video from being too long, I knew it would probably drag out anyways because all the goodies I wrote down. I'm going to skip a couple of other things. It pains me to. The only thing World War II that I want to mention is Douglas A. Monroe. When I went through boot camp, I stayed in Monroe Hall, which is of course named after him. Douglas Monroe is the only recipient of the Medal of Honor in the Coast Guard. In September of 1942, he died defending Marines. He was almost gone. He was almost the last to leave. He was a coxswain. And he was in charge of 12 smaller craft that were coming up on a beach in Guadalcanal to rescue some Marines and get them the hell out of there. And he sat there and gave covering fire and literally was one of the last to leave. And as they were leaving, he got shot in the neck and killed. So he was after death, posthumously, I forget how to say that. That's so embarrassing. Brain fart and a half, huh? Given the Medal of Honor. So that's a big deal for the Coast Guard, obviously. So I did want to mention that. So I'm going to skip ahead to 1964. In 1964, John F. Kennedy, and this is some EPME stuff, as you guys know. You guys are probably laughing. It's not, I don't think it's called EPME anymore. When you're in the Coast Guard, you take tests. You take tons and tons and tons of tests, qualifications, all kinds of stuff. One of the things you took was called the EPME. It's the Enlisted Personnel something. I can't even remember that. Years ago. I got out in 2007, so it's been a while. But it literally was the history of the Coast Guard, all that stuff. So a lot of this I remember even from that, but I can't remember what EPME means. So 1964, John F. Kennedy wants to revamp the look of the Coast Guard. And he wanted something new and specifically recognizable from a distance. So there's a company he put in charge of it to go and redesign a new logo for the Coast Guard. What they came back with was the famous stripe that we all know. The orange, white, and blue stripe. And the response to it was overwhelming. And JFK liked it so much that he went on a campaign to have the appearance of the U.S. government in its entirety changed for worldwide appearances. That's pretty cool, based on the Coast Guard stripe. So, it's like an ID program he opened up. So, in April 6, 1967, is when the first slash, the first stripe started appearing. Here's the cool thing about it. The angle is 64 degrees to commemorate 1964 when JFK. incorporated that. So that, I remember that, the 64 degrees, I thought that was awesome. I'm like, that's so cool. Because people see that symbol, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people see that symbol a day. And I wonder how many of them know that. That's why I love history so much, reasons like that. So, by the way, Fill Your Splash, you guys already discovered this, pairs perfectly with Joe's soap there. It's like you guys collaborated or something. So, there's so much more to it that I skipped over, and it was killing me to skip over, but I knew I had to. So I might come back and just do a Coast Guard history thing just for the hell of it. The other thing I wanted to mention is my own experience. So my wife and I met actually in 2005 in the Coast Guard. We were both stationed in Rockland, Maine. I was on an icebreaker called the Thunder Bay, which is that. She was on a buoy tender called the Abby Burgess. I was on a 140 footer. She was on a 175. I'm sorry, 170. The other buoy tenders are 225s, Juniper class. The Abby Burgess was actually a female lighthouse keeper. And now we have a daughter that we call Abby. Unplanned. See? It just keeps going. The Coast Guard stuff with us. So, I enlisted in Houston, Texas. I went to boot camp. I got out of boot camp. I graduated. I went back home. They give you something that's called a dream sheet. And it's literally, you get 5 choices and you put where you want to end up. There's no guarantee you'll get it. Is that still going? Okay, sorry, I got a phone call coming in. So there's no guarantee you're going to get it. That's why it's called a dream sheet. So I put Galveston, Texas, Tampa, Florida, Florida Keys. I put everywhere around the Gulf of Mexico. And for my 5th pick, I literally just wrote New England. And I got an icebreaker in Maine. Isn't that funny? It actually is quite funny. I remember getting my orders, and I'm like, what the hell? My dad's like, Maine? Where's that? Not really. Like, I thought, we leave the country when we join the Coast Guard? So anyway, I'd never been further north than Huntington, West Virginia before that point. I go to Cape May, New Jersey for boot camp. I get through boot camp. I go to Maine, and it was unlike anything I'd ever heard of or seen. New York City I had seen in movies my whole life. First time I set eyes on New York City in real life, we dropped anchor in Anchorage Alpha directly in front of the Statue of Liberty at night. And I remember finally finishing up. We had anchor detail going. I was standing on the forecastle of the cutter just literally looking at Lady Liberty, like right there. Anchorage Alpha is only used for emergency personnel and, law enforcement and all that stuff, so it's off limits to civilians. I got to go to Bayonne, New Jersey, called Montby Pier. If anyone's ever seen the show Oz, where it's a bunch of guys in prison, that's where that was filmed. So I got to get a quick little tour of the set of Oz, which was amazing. I think they'll probably still use it for filming even today. I don't know what they're filming there. But, where was I? I'm sorry. I'm getting a text. I think one of my son's friend's moms is trying to contact him for a play date. Oh, so, long story short, this is going to be a longer video. That's okay. I'll let it go. This part's important to me. So, I was on my last year when my wife got pregnant with our son. And she had just joined. So I opted to get out. I miss it every day almost. I miss it all the time. And it's been awesome watching my wife go along and succeed in it. So I've kind of kept myself a part of it through her. But everything we have now, we owe to the Coast Guard. Everything. I mean, we own a house in Cape Cod. That's not supposed to happen until our 60s, 70s. Or unless we're rich. And now we have 3 beautiful kids. She's gonna retire at age 40. Pull a pension at 40. Don't do the math. By her, figuring out her age, she'll kill me. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, being a part of it, meeting other people, the experiences I have in just such a short amount of time. 4 years, man. Oh, I got to see President Bush land 2 separate occasions. No, 3 separate occasions. We ran security for 2 of those. I was on an M80 on our captain's wall, which is the balcony outside of the bridge of the ship. It's called the captain's wall. And on port and starboard sides were M80s. And I was in flash gear up on an M80 watching Marine One land. I mean, who the hell else gets to do that? Just this, punk kid from Texas hanging out on the East River. Or the Hudson. I forget which one. RNC building's on. I think it's the East River. Hanging out there. And then it was so cool because me and my buddies were up on the forecastle, the bow of the ship, just looking at skyscrapers, playing Count the Snipers. It was very cool. Hell of an experience. I'll remember it the rest of my life. So, Joe, thank you, man. You're a great guy. Lucky enough to retire. Good for you, dude. Same with you, Bradley. You guys are awesome. Bradley every now and then will send me a reel. He sent me a couple of Coastie ones. The most recent one was a 25, a rib, RHI, rigid hull inflatable boat. Those are the little ones you see that are orange with the silver cabin, the metal cabin. Fast suckers. I got a chance to take a ride on one of those. They turn like this. I don't know why my hand was shaking there. That was weird. Okay. They turn like this. Literally on the side. You're just like along for the ride. Anyway, that video, it was a dog being rescued in the middle of the ocean with nothing around it, just the dog. And you can see the guy pulling him up was like, what the hell is this dog doing out here? Very weird. So, been cool. Johnny Bravo. John, good to know you too, man. I know I'm forgetting some people I met that are Coasties. John D. Love the spalted maple brush, dude. Thank you so much for this. It's my favorite Badger brush, hands down. So, yeah, I think that about does it. I'm sure I'll remember some stuff. For those thinking about enlisting, go do it. There's nothing like it. You can even go overseas. It'd be a fact, I was in them. I had just started talks with my BM1 about the process of volunteering to go overseas when I found out about my son. So I almost actually went overseas. But it is what it is. It's what life does, So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Semper Paratus. Always ready. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can think of, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you watched the whole thing, I really appreciate it. Always prepared. That's what it was. Always ready, always prepared. Same thing. Semper P. Honor, respect, devotion, and duty. There's a lot of things for the Coast Guard. It's the Coast Guardsmen's creed. I should have thought to bring that one and recite it. Oh well. You guys get the gist of it. So thank you again for watching. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your summer. Next video will be another McDuff shave. So tune in. Appreciate it. I don't know what history thing I'm going to do, but I have some ideas. Till then, take care. Appreciate it, guys. Happy shaving. Take it easy.